Kortaniemi has finally gone by, or is trying to go by Parton, and they're going to go too wide through Bravery Corner. That slows them up, but they at least get out the other side.
There's the hit, that's the trouble, and this is going to be Young Blue who somehow keeps the car going from there. That might just be save of the year.
How? You're downhill with your full speed, you can't get on the brakes, and he's managed to keep that car not just out of the wall, but well away from the wall. No, I can't. This is blip. Whoa!
It's blind as well. That makes it even better.
You don't know where the car is. That's just amazing.
23 gets the green flag, and he's definitely going to be the first down to the first corner, but will he be the first off of it? A little bit of an approach from third place. Oh no, wow, clear around the outside. Wow. Where did Money come from? He's got the lead away from everybody, and oh, they've got a big wreck behind them as a few cars get collected. Gandour, Hederman, both involved. Breaking into the start. Oh no! Is this going to hand third to Kortaniemi? He's going to have a slight cut course penalty. Hawken is back to third. Kortaniemi is now coming up on him. They're going to go three wide. Sanchez is going to take the win on this one, as Trangarade, unfortunately, a little bit slow off the corner himself. Kortaniemi around the outside. Hawken's going to have to send it in deep.
Spin it!
Oh, both of them going a little too hard. Sanchez is going to be the win. Hawken trying to cut back, and so is Kortaniemi. He gets the run around the outside. Kortaniemi's going to take second as Sanchez wins, and Hawken winds up in third.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Pandemonium. That's the best way to describe how the last race played out at the end at Talladega. Kevin McCann stayed in front of the chaos, coming to the line to become the first multi-race winner of the campaign. Today's race brings a different type of tone setter. 12 drivers look to end their night $100 richer at a track rich in history. This is the first Dash for Cash race for the IROC Challenge Series campaign, live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to iRacing's virtual Rockingham Speedway for the 6th race of the season. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Chris Scowa. Behind the scenes is our director, Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Rockingham has plenty of history when it comes to racing. Open since 1965, and former host of NASCAR Cup Series competition. Let's learn more about it with our GSRC track guide.
Under beautiful Carolina blue skies sits the Rockingham Speedway, also known as The Rock. The fierce competition on the Speedway is what gives The Rock its name. This 1 mile oval has been thrilling fans for over 30 years with 22 degrees of banking and a tough-on tires surface. On top of the surface being a tire killer, the Rockingham Speedway is also one of the bumpiest tracks that you'll find out there. The yellow line is the best and fastest way around this place on fresh rubber. Planting those left side tires around the bottom in 1 and 2 is one of the most satisfying feelings. Down there on the yellow line, the bumps are minimal and you really get this sensation of being shot out of a cannon when you come screaming on a turn 2, up out of that corner, down the backstretch. Patience around the Rock is the name of the game. Rockingham kind of reminds me of Darlington Raceway in that sense, that you show up here and you race the racetrack, not necessarily the competition. The fastest drivers here are often the slowest to the throttle. Maintaining proper traction and low tire wear is currently and historically the best way to find victory lane here at this legendary facility. Rockingham is a throwback to the old ways of auto racing. Dig hard, elbows up, and be smart about it. Racing here just feels different. You'll see today the racers enjoy it and very often put on some of the best shows at this old track. This has been our guide to the Rockingham Speedway. Enjoy the show.
That was a look at our GSRC track guide for Rockingham Speedway. Now, let's talk about how these cars will race here tonight, Chris, because the Rock, obviously a legendary racetrack when it comes to the history of stock car racing, but not an easy racetrack when it comes to the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars utilized by the series.
Yeah, these cars are very tricky out here on the track, Justin. I mean, it's a track that you got to go all the way back to 1965. Harold Brasington, and yes, that name sounds familiar. That's the same Harold Brasington that built Darlington Raceway, was helping on this track with a gentleman named Bill Land back in 1965. This track is right here is its original setup, 1.017 miles, 2 different degrees of banking, 2 symmetrical symmetrical. I don't know how to speak English, but anyways, the corners are different. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Turn 1 and 2 are higher banked than turn 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is more of a tighter radius. Turn 3 and 4 more of a sweeping radius. However, there's bumps. The track is a little worn out, so the tires are going to take a beating. We're going to see cars all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom. We've seen crazy finishes. I immediately think back to 1994 when Todd Bodine went 3 wide off turn 4 and won a race here at the Rock. I think of the last Cup race in 2003 where Matt Kenseth just beat out Casey Kane. This track produces great racing, but you got to save your tires and you got to race the track here at the Rock.
It's a very difficult circuit indeed. 150 laps in total for these competitors tonight. Lots to talk about as warm-up gets underway. Let's talk about the sponsors that support this series. First, Zoe's Place. The mission of Zoe's Place Child Advocacy Center is to minimize trauma to child victims in sexual abuse and neglect by providing a centralized, safe, and child-friendly facility from which a multidisciplinary team, NDT as known as, conducts investigations and intervention activities. Our goals are to reduce trauma, seek justice, and foster hope and healing for children and their non-offending caregivers. Our vision is to foster hope and healing, reduce trauma, and provide nurturance for children and their families. The series also brought to you by R&R Racewear, your source for all your custom racewear apparel needs and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at r-rracewear.com. Tonight also brought to you by Evidence-Based Mommy. Have questions about parenting or non-toxic living? Visit evidencebasedmommy.com, where Dr. Samantha Radford combines science and wellness to help parents and kids thrive. By Lucky Fin. We're proud to celebrate the Lucky Fin Project, who has celebrated and created, a nationwide support network for parents of kids with limb differences and provides limb difference education and awareness. Find more info at luckyfin.org. Tonight also brought to you by Loud Pedal TV, as well as by 5-Star Graphics, by Sim Coaches, as well as by The Hot Dog Stand. The Hot Dog Stand is open. Be sure to tune in to the live airing of the Hot Dog Stand podcast Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on their Facebook page. You can also listen to the conversation on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Anchor. That brings us into how the championship is faring out, Chris, and after the last race, things have taken a turn. Kevin McCann, the first 2-time winner in the series this season.
Yeah, I think when you have Talladega Superspeedway as your last race, it definitely plays a role in the whole thing. And as we take a look at the point standings, as you mentioned, Justin, McCann leads now by 13 over Aaron Smith. Chris Medford and Troy Radford, those guys were all involved in the wrecks, especially in that last lap. I think everyone, including the pace car, wrecked at one point in that last lap at Talladega last week. But those are your top 4, and they're starting to kind of run away. Neil Quick is there in 5th. McCann, Medford, Brandon, that is, Josh Funkhauser, Jason Higginbotham, and Cook Quick there, your top 10 as we enter the Rock.
There is an important thing to mention, though, when it comes to that. Remember, when it comes to the series, previous week's winner gets an EOL at the start and the race, and towards the back they go last off pit lane for the last stage. McCann, though, will lose a set of tires for the remainder of the regular season, which could be huge at a track such as the Rock. Let's take a look at your details, though, for tonight. As mentioned, 150 laps, but there are stages in this series at the 40% and 75% distance marks. Fixed setups, no spare car available without the wins factored in. There are 4 total sets for normal competitive situations, including the set in the pits. So 3 available in the pit lane for tonight. 3 GWCs are available if necessary. It is worth noting there's a 60% fuel limit for tonight's race cars as well. But as mentioned off the top, it's the Dash for Cash tonight, where drivers will be racing for $100 prize. The top 12 in the points are competing in that, including Kevin McCann, Chris Metford, along with Neil Quick, Brandon Metford, Jason Higginbotham, David Trumbley, Aaron Smith, Troy Radford, Brian McCann, Josh Funkhauser, Cook Quick, and Jesse King. All of them have a chance at a $100 prize for the large winner's check presented by Lucky Finn Project by the end of the night. But qualifying and warm-up have both come to a close. It's time to look at how they'll start tonight. From the Rock, Aaron Smith II starts on the pole tonight with a 24.671. Brian McCann will start towards the back in this one. Remember, he was picking at the speed last time out the McCanns did. Brian McCann in second in quali, though. Brandon Metford in row 2 alongside Kevin McCann. Then it's Troy Radford, Neil Quick, row 3, Mike Cook and Hunter Clark, David Trumbley, and Chris Wally, the top 10.
All right, looking at the row number 6, it is Chris Metford, Brandon Leclerc there in the 12th position. Joshua Funkhauser, Brian Kaufman, they'll take row number 7. Row 8, Kyle Pendergraft and Brian Reek, who had an unfortunate run there at Talladega, looking to rebound tonight. Matthew Kopp, Mike Harper, row 9. Row 10, Tim Schofield and Cook Quick.
Those drivers separated by about 6-7 tenths of a second. Bill Walker, 21st. Jamie Burrell back in 22nd. Then you have Lazelle in 23rd. Amongst those not sitting a time, Douglas Wysocki, Ray Radford, Donnie Lyons, and Curtis Rogers. 4 different drivers have onboard cameras tonight with them. Mike Cook will be riding along with him for tonight's action. You see a very intriguing look for the 00 tonight. We also have Brian McCann, who is looking very nervous for tonight. Kyle Pendergraft also has an onboard, as well as Kevin McCann for tonight's action from Rockingham. The drivers getting themselves all situated and ready to go for tonight's action. It should be a fun one, Chris, to say the very least.
It is going to be fun. Time to save tires from the start.
Off and away we go. The green flag is out. We're underway from Rockingham.
Curious to see how this outside line is going to be, Justin, because very tight here off of turn 2, and you see a lot of accidents on starts and restarts here.
Already the top 4 or 5 drivers single filing out. Multiple grooves being utilized, though 6th on back, as the heart of the pack leads them off. A clean start, though, for Smith. Aaron Smith, someone who races a ton when it comes to speedways in this type of racing, leads things off in this group.
Yeah, Aaron's a fantastic talent. I've watched him in a couple other leagues myself. He's not only fast on the ovals, he's fast on road courses too, which you know, when you got that kind of talent on the track, as the 46 is already getting the wall into turn 3, but he's definitely shown he can be fast in this league.
One of the battles picking up in the heart of the pack. You see the number 81 machine. That's Funkhauser battling with one of the Metfords. That's in the battle just outside the top 10. Neil Quick, the quickest out of those on track from 3rd. And you already see just how difficult it is off the corner. A lot of bottoming out these drivers are taking in the corners.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed, Justin, and one thing I remember from previous races here back in the day of the Winston Cup at the time and those series that raced, a lot of people always talked about how the cars drove themselves. And sometimes you almost feel like that when you're on a surface like this. It's like you try to get the car to sit right down on that yellow line, but it's almost like the car just says, no, I'm going up here and running up here or going down or whatnot. You almost have to just race the track, like I said earlier, and let the car just kind of do its own thing while you're out there driving.
See right now, Brandon Metford amongst those looking to play defense. but Quick trying to play offense. In fact, a couple offensive moves. The battle for third and potentially the battle for the lead, trying different lines to use this banking as a ramp.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those tracks. You can go, again, bottom to top. I think the top groove is going to be eventually where you got to go, but until the groove moves up more and more rubber-wise, that top is going to eat up tires here a lot quicker, so they got to be very careful. It's kind of a balancing act.
That balancing act currently seeing a little bit of a drop back for Quick. It's worth noting Brian McCann looking very feisty in that battle up the road, has tried to peek around the outside of Smith in 1 and 2 a couple times. But it's very important, Chris. We've seen in the past. You burn up your tires lightning fast if you push hard.
Oh, absolutely. And when those tires fall off, it's like falling off a cliff right now. I mean, you've got the leaders, 24.95 from Medford, and 03 from Smith, and 08 from McCann, and 09 from Neil Quick. So everybody's within a tenth of each other up there at the top. But again, how much are you really preserving your tires if you're out here driving hard trying to get to the front? So again, you got to... It's very important you save your tires. You do not want to have them fall off a cliff.
One of the battles keeping an eye on for the moment includes Brandon Leclerc, who's still looking for his first top 10 of the season, 25th in the point standings coming into today, but has dropped back to 11th off the jump.
Yeah, Leclerc started in the 10th position. He's trailing the 81 here of Joshua Funkhauser, as you mentioned. Look at the 3 different groups there. 54 up top, 84 in the middle, 21. That is the classic rock right there that we're so used to, and why people to this day want racing back at the Rock. The problem is, when they go back to the Rock, nobody fills the seats. There's a problem there.
Keep in mind, this is a racetrack that did receive funding from the state last year, and of course, North Wilkesboro, which is another track hard dash for cash for this campaign, received some of those funds as well, and big news coming out of that with the All-Star race announced earlier today going to North Wilkesboro for real-world NASCAR. Meanwhile, let's take a look at one of your drivers, Brian McCann.
Contact's already cut you off there, 46 and 96 off turn 2, 46 pushed up. Medford into Trumbull. That was almost bad.
That's Chris Medford you were talking about. David Trumbull also in the area at the time of that incident, who had got hit in the left rear. No damage, though, for the 96. Medford did not pick up any additional damage either, but he still wants to make the pass. Same spot. Able to make it stick this time, though.
Yeah, he got tight. You can see off turn 2. That time he smoothed it out, but coming off to that last lap, hey, he lost the nose or something. It just plowed right up into the 96. Great save on both parts.
Already coming towards lap 12 for majority of the drivers here. Chris Medford keeping up the battle inside, but looking from on board. This is Hunter Clark. He's currently in that popcorn seat. You can just see how tight things are getting for Trumbull, trying to run that higher groove for the backstretch. Lead change. Brian McCann has ripped away the lead from Aaron Smith II.
Momentum shifted its way here. Brian went out, won that Talladega race, as you mentioned last week, and here he is now up in the front.
Brian McCann, lots of speed, of course. Both McCanns very quick on the racetrack. Kevin was the one with the victory last time. But as you can see, bad run coming off the corner for Smith.
I knew pretty much when it was over that McCann was going to win. I just got the wrong one. But great pass inside lane. Looks like Aaron kind of let him have it there. One other way of saving your tires, just kind of don't get in there. Don't be side by side right now. Just let this race come to you. Still got plenty of laps. I mean, we're less than 20 laps into this race right now. So let the race come to you. Very important.
0.3 of a second difference last time by for Brian McCann over Aaron Smith II, by the way, on time. That's backed up Medford, Brandon Medford, as well as Neil Quick, who's trying the high line. Separation between these drivers about 1 second. Up at the very front, these drivers 0.4 per second through fourth.
Yeah, the times are very close, but you're noticing already, Justin, it's kind of been mentioned already. The times are falling off. I mean, we've already lost 2 to 3 tenths in the first 14 laps of this race. The question is going to be how much farther are we going to go, because, you know, as you mentioned, we got stage racing coming up, so these guys have got to preserve and get to the end of the stages to get these bonus points and stuff.
The interesting thing is just how high Neil Quick's been able to make that wall work. How long can he keep that up, Chris?
Well, that's the thing I'm worried about, because, again, you get it to the top groove of some of these worn-out surfaces, that's where your tires get shredded. I mean, you think of Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old version. You think of Darlington. I mean, that track's obviously a little unique in its own ways, but you get up against that wall without rubber being built, then basically, you know, your tires are going to shred, and so you can get that groove moved up a little bit. And I know that's what Neil's trying to do. Eventually, it balances out, but until then, I'm pretty sure Neil's going to wear his tires out a lot quicker than these other guys if he keeps going.
We mentioned Kevin McCann picking up the victory. Here's the tough thing about today. As mentioned, down to tire set. Some trouble behind him. Contact down the back straightaway. Tim Schofield drives on by. Several others check up. Paul Pizzell amongst those involved in that contact kerfluffle.
I think we're still green. Do I see a caution out? Looks like we're still green.
Yes, we're still
Wow.
green.
Actually looking for the incident myself here on replay, but we'll look at the GSRC replay. How's that?
Take a look at the bump. This is the 51.
See 3 wide there. Oh, just maybe a little net code there. A little bit, just a misjudgment. Looked like a checkup in front there. And Wally just wrong place, wrong time. And unfortunately got put in Wally.
Small little pun there as Chris Wally indeed nearly gets himself put into the wall. And you see big checkup. That's after the bobble up the racetrack. That was Matthew Kopp and company, Paul Bazane. So they're able to hold on to it with lap 20 coming to a close this time around. Was about to say Kevin McCann, who just got past that, is now up to 13th on the racetrack at the tail end of the main pack, 6th through 13th.
Yeah, right now Kevin running 25.53s. He's a couple tenths off right now, but of course he had to avoid that wreck a second ago. He's trying to catch the 01 right now. Brian Kaufman and Funkhauser there in front of him. But you mentioned being short on a set of tires. Not to mention at stage 3, he's got to go tail end Charlie to restart the race. So that's a couple of disadvantages here. And this is a track that it's not the easiest to pass right now. I mean, you look at the biggest mover in this race right now.
Trouble in front of them. Hunter Clark slams on the side of Brandon Leclerc. Rex has a big dodge for Kevin McCann. He survives it. The caution is out.
Yep, first time. And 54-22 also involved, mentioned there, Matt Kopp and others. So first caution out right in front of the 33. Talk about luck.
That could have been a race ender. Let's take a look. This battle was intensifying right at that point. The crossover comes in, and the crossover fails.
Yep, right there. And he caught the apron. That is another very understated part of the track. That apron in turn 2 can either send you spinning, or if you have a very tight race car, which I'm assuming most of these Xfinity cars do, then you're going to be plowing up the track. If you watch really closely here, there's a crossover, and you're going to see the car clip the apron right there. And he comes up the track, and it's going to cause a melee off turn 2, something you see all the time. And wow, he might have a little bit of left front damage. Otherwise, McCann missed that wreck. Very impressive. Leaders are on pit road.
So our first caution of the race comes in for stops at lap 23. Most of the field coming in except for Kevin McCann, Joshua Funkhouse, and Matthew Kopp. Mostly everybody else coming into the pit lane here. That's not a surprise with the 33's tire situation, but tires can be and are expected to be huge. The race off the line includes a lot of fuel stops.
Yeah.
Brian McCann over Aaron the Smith II, so a lot of drivers not taking the set. Chris Medford the first one to do so.
Yeah, it looks like Medford going to be the first one on tires, so we're going to see 6 or 7 cars coming off pit road with just fuel only. Looks like the top 4, maybe 5 cars are going to stay out here with this caution. So the strategy already starting to come into play. Fuel really not important when it comes to the stage racing itself, but what it can do is help the car keep a balance, especially with the older tires, and even loosen it up just a little bit because you're putting more more weight back on the rear.
Looks like Joshua Funkhauser is coming back in for the first time, should rather say. So we'll let him drop to the back.
Yeah, he's going to get that rear end fixed. Got a lot of damage to the spoiler. That car not going to be driving right here for a little bit, but hopefully it's all optional damage. He can get that fixed. The good news is the motor's okay. He'll be all right.
And lights out on top of the iRacing pace car. Very quick, this caution flag sequence. Kevin McCann and Matthew Kopp leading things off at the front of the field. Then you have Brian Reek. And then everybody else topped off for fuel. One driver took 4 tires, Chris Medford. Mostly everybody else behind him topped off still. A couple did take 7 seconds, so a potential 2-stop for drivers maybe 15th on back. Still a ways back. though, in the order.
Yeah, this is going to be a potential stage-winning move maybe for Medford in this strategy, but he's got to be very patient here because you're going to have cars potentially spinning the tires here on this restart. He's got to be patient.
Tire spin for Kevin McCann.
Oh, no!
Major tire spin as they wreck for second on back. At the heart of the pack, they loop it around. No caution yet, now it waves as they stack up at the flag stand.
UGLY.
And that is not how you expect a start to go, but that is how tire spin can majorly impact things. It's Matthew Kopp with tire spin from second, and this stacks up a lot of cars.
It's like he got surprised, it looks like, on that restart. Leader took off, he didn't. And then, of course, when you do that, you just spontaneously pound the gas pedal, and it's going to cause you to spin the tires. The only way you can get out of tire spin is let off the throttle or maybe even short shift. But it's not the easiest thing to do, so he was pretty much caught in a bad spot there, trying to get going. And unfortunately for a little bit of the field here, I see Aaron Smith got hit right there in the door. Nice miss there, and others unfortunately involved.
Yeah, that collecting a lot of your main contenders up towards the front with damage.
Let's see, Funkhauser, do I got him? He's back on track, it looks like, but Kopp, looks like only a couple cars on pit road there from here, though. Kopp and Hunter Clark, of course, he was on pit road, I believe, from the last caution, so
And
a lot of cars with damage.
Kevin McCann's coming in after the major tire spin, leading them around that time by to the caution flag. So just past lap 26, starting lap 27 this time around. Cook quick. Also coming in Mike Harper, as well as several towards the rear of the field. Not how you expect the closing stages of how things play out in stage one to go.
No, it's not, but, one thing that we should talk about is the fact that a lot of this strategy is nothing uncommon in this series. You see drivers taking fuel only all the time early in this race to kind of set them up for later on when they have the sets of tires to use and that kind of thing. But this is where it gets tricky. You got these very high horsepowered, there's what I'm trying to say, cars of the Xfinity cars trying to get out here and spin these tires, or trying to get going on these tires on a worn out surface again. It's not going to have much grip, and that's where you see the trouble like that. So I think this is a good little wake-up call for some of these drivers that realize, hey, I got to be careful of wheel spin, and even if that means just short shifting, like maybe on a road course or something, just to kind of get that car up and going without spinning the tires, whatever you got to do, but it's a very tricky spot right now.
Still a lot of time in terms of projected time in this respective stage. Here so far at the Rock, only Rika is yet to pit amongst the entire field on the racetrack. That's the 11 car. Brandon Metford is now up to second with the incident. Aaron Smith the second, Neil Quick, Brian McCann, the current top 5. See how race control plays those out amongst those infected by some of the tire spin stack up. Here is Kyle Pennegrove, who is currently up to 12th position. So far, so good for the 14, who has been able to jump up 3 spots for the starting position. A little damage, though, in the right front and the left rear. Outside of that, keeping it clean.
Is that a set of Dale Jr. gloves right there he's got on? Looks like the skeleton gloves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those signature skeleton gloves seen in the later stages of Dale Jr.'s career, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Of course, the green screen with the Hot Dog Podcast.
See him give a little look there, too. Bit of contemplation as he jumps to the outside. Keep in mind, tire spin could be huge here. How do you play this now that most of those drivers who were in that case the last time just backed out of it and are now in a different sequence of drivers on the front row this time?
I think if you're Brian Reich here in the lead, I think you have to almost speed up this restart a little bit. I think if the higher speed he can kind of get the green flag and go, I think that allows the field to kind of be at that speed too and kind of take off. The slower this restart is, the more potential chance you have of these cars spinning the tires. Now, the one thing that did surprise me about the 22 spinning the tires, normally in these cars, they go to the right. He went to the left. So that kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Let's see how this restart plays out. 121 laps to go early on in this opening stage here in the IROC Challenge Series.
Ooh.
Bit of tire spin, bit cleaner this time. We're off and away.
You can just see how he pounded that throttle. It just took off on him.
Looking for the race lead on the outside, it's Brandon Medford driving around the 11. New race leader, it's Brandon Medford.
Great pass on that top side. Again, worn out tires, jump up top there, make the move, and here comes Aaron Smith, also going to go for second. He's got the two following him.
Right on the outside, Aaron Smith, the second, wrapping the bottom. Neil Quick looking to pounce as well. Looking like Aaron Smith letting him overdrive it though as he's nearly up to the wall.
Bill Walker unscheduled pit stop for him as the 11 slips up the track there just a little bit. So I wonder if Reich is just trying to be careful here right now. Doesn't want to cause any issues, so he's trying to give a lot of room right now, which is very smart in this part of the race.
Walker and Funkhauser black flags from the tire spin situation, passing cars off the restart. Neil Quick has been able to jump past Brian McCann, as well as Brian Reich, as a result of the shuffling. So a clean restart, but already the 11 losing lots of ground, is off cycle by a significant margin though on the fuel.
Watching real closely the tires, Chris Medford hasn't gotten up really to about the 6th position right now. He's probably just kind of biding his time right now so that these tires will be good a little bit later on. But yeah, so far here, it's been a good restart. A lot of cars moving up to that top groove now.
Neil Quick, the leader of that top group, using that top line to diamond it on down again, trying to gain back that ground on the 70. Keep in mind, before the caution flag, was one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. In that battle, that was intensifying for second.
I don't know what it is, but so far in the couple broadcasts I've done in this series, I noticed the 2 and the 3 like to run around each other. Last week they were like pushing each other all over Talladega, and here they are now almost side by side for the position. You see the 79 making a pass there on the screen, and that's Donnie Lyons making a pass on Curtis Rogers there.
Abazal is just backed out of the race. Worth noting, Bill Walker, who had to come down for the black flag, letting the drivers go. And the major thing when it comes to Lyons and Rogers, they were towards the very back to start. They are on the move from the 20s.
Yeah, 17th positions gained on both parts there. So one started back in, we do the math here real quick, 26th and 27th for them both. So pretty much tail end Charlie. And they've worked their way up, as you mentioned, with track position. They did not take tires. They've done this pretty much with strategy. So great run for both of them so far.
Ryan McCann, meanwhile, you see, looking to the inside of Quick. Quick not able to take his diamond line this time. McCann not able to clear on by. So Quick, one of the few drivers so far who's been able to do a solid job defending on the top.
A very tough pass, slide up, no, not able to complete the pass, and that's the one thing about these cars. The more you turn that wheel, the more speed you scrub, and that's what helps out a situation here when you're Neil Quick up there in the 3rd position trying to hold the spot. McCann can't slide up and clear, and especially in a corner right here, turn 2, you're going to slide up and not able to make that pass, and it makes it very tough to pass. But nice job by Reich there behind him, holding on to the 5th position after it looked like he was going to free fall through the field.
That cost him a little bit of ground, though. More than a second to your top 2, in fact. How do you try and play out when's the time to pounce in these types of situations, and when's it the time to try and ride and let the progression move back to the pack?
Oh, I think right now is the time where you just kind of ride and let this, almost like let the race come to you. Yeah, you want to try to make a pass right now, but force the 2 into a mistake. Don't force the move yourself into a position that maybe takes not only you out, but you and somebody else out in the situation right now. Yeah, it's okay to be running the bottom groove right now, but let Neil Quick run himself, potentially wearing his tires out or into that wall, making that mistake where all of a sudden it makes it even easier for you to pass right now. You got plenty of time, 60 laps likely range-wise before the end of stage 1. We're only at the, 38 lap or 30 lap mark right now, so we're just halfway into stage 1 right now, so plenty of time to make this move.
Plenty of time, but McCann wants to take the time to do it at the very bottom right now. Quick again, losing his ground on the top, but able to squeeze off the exit. McCann having to lift out of it to avoid contact. Give credit to Reich. He's kept that track position with this group, with this fight.
Yeah, he's done a great job with this, and I think the 3 is going to need to, McCann's going to need to try to set up the pass going into turn 1 and 2, because as you're seeing, every time he gets to that bottom groove in turn 2, he just completely loses all the momentum too quick here. So he wants to get off this corner, right here is where he wants to try to get quick to make the mistake and get that inside line. So at this point then, as they get to turn 1 and 2, hopefully complete the pass. If he has to pull an old slider, he's going to get him right here. Quick's going to let him go.
They lost more than 2 seconds fighting for this position. Neil Quick letting by McCann, finding he is more quicker, the 3 car is, compared to Quick in the 2.
You wonder if McCann said something like, dude, work with me here.
Meanwhile, in the next group, near 3 wide, Kevin McCann nearly took a look. Instead, Tim Schofield side by side with Mike Cook. Cook wrapping the bottom and takes the spot. So the 0-0 looking to keep clean after some of the troubles on the last restart. Here is Kevin McCann to the inside. You see him from his rig looking to move up to a race high 7th.
Now you wonder how McCann's nose may be affecting the car just a little bit there. Maybe a little bit of aero deficiency as the 12 knocks the wall down over there off 2. But you see that little bit of nose damage. I see a little bit of gap in the space between the hood and the front end of the car there. So that's got to be hurting his car a little bit when it comes to aero.
Aerodynamics, a big part of these cars. How would you describe the aerodynamic impact when it comes to big scrapes like his, to where there are parts of the bodywork in some of these cars that are getting the air going through?
Well, and one of these kind of things, you want to have the front end sealed off as much as you can. Believe it or not, you're going around this track at an average speed of, about 140 miles an hour. So you're getting top end speed 150 or so down to about 120 to 130 in the corners. Believe it or not, that's a lot of aerodynamics needed on this track. So if you got damage in the front end, the air is finding every crack and crevice in the front end of the car. And if it finds that, it creates drag. What does drag do? It slows your car down speed-wise. So it kind of hurts your car a little bit, could cause it to plow or to push a little bit up the track and that kind of thing. But look, it looks like McCann right now is doing okay with it, but I'm sure it would help to get a little bit of that fixed.
Chris Medford is amongst those also with similar types of damage on his 46 car. See right now trying to slice and dice around Reich. Just can't get the run. He's trying the high side.
And you got to remember, Medford took time. He's almost too high right there. But you see the right rear on his car has got a little bit of damage, a little bit of splitter damage down there on the front end, it looks like there. So obviously the side force on that car is probably not at its best right now. So he's probably feeling maybe a little bit free, potentially coming off the corner without the side force. But he's getting pretty good runs here on the 11. So, and then he scrapes the wall again.
Oh, and he bounces it off the wall again. Not what you want to do down Thunder Alley.
Is he dropping things on the floor in his house? I hate when that happens.
That is something that can happen if you have something on your desk and you slam into the wall like that. Meanwhile, the battle for 9th is perpetually going on. Donnie Lyons jumps up to 8th spot. Mike Cook now battling with Brandon Leclerc, who's without a TV panel. Leclerc launches the 0-0, hit the wall. Mike Cook avoids the contact.
Cook knocked the wall down there off turn 2, but I remember Jeff Gordon in '97 winning an all-star race with no back end, hence why you got to have a tail end panel on your car from now on.
Yeah, that was a close call indeed, able to dodge on by just in time. Leclerc +3 in terms of starting position currently. Wally, meanwhile, we've seen the big hit he took before, able to dive to the inside, and Tim Schofield just about hits the wall.
Now, the good thing about these cars, remember, this isn't the traditional, I guess you'd call the Gen 7 cars now, and even the trucks that you see out here on the track. These bodies can take shots to the wall. Now, I'm not saying you should go and just repeatedly hit the wall every single time, but at the same time, these cars can take little contacts to the wall and still end up going when it's all said and done. We got a battle for the lead.
It's in the midst of lap traffic. 100 to go, coming up to the final few laps of this stage. Aaron Smith, the second on the high side. 3 wide with the lap car. In the middle. That's Mike Harper. Harper able to back out of it, but that cost Smith the second a chance for the lead.
Yeah, I think Smith was very conservative making that move around that 4 car. Now, he's aggressive getting there, but obviously he had to be careful getting off the corner because if the 4 would have slide up there. But still, good way to keep this battle going there. Got around the 4, and they continue on.
The phrase, lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away, coming into play. Smith the second before that was starting to reel him in by a couple 100ths per lap.
Oh, in the wall. I think the 4 just got the wall. Down the back straightaway there. It looked like maybe checked up 3rd and 4th a slight bit. It's all out of the corner of my eye.
Ray Radford in 19th, also getting underneath, though, cleanly. So no major checkup at the lap out of the race lead, getting checked up again.
Oh, one
Narrow
car
lap.
just pounded the wall there behind Smith.
One of the lap cars able to get going though. Curtis Rogers, caution comes out. Caution flag is out. 23rd place has gone around. The 54, Hunter Clark.
Hunter not having a good night. He was involved in that first caution. Now, bringing out the second caution in this race, Hunter's going to want to get out of here. Oh, contact with the 20. Wow. That looks like a black screen to me.
That's with Cook Quick, yeah. Straight up the racetrack into Cook Quick, right into the path of the 11 of Wright.
That car just goes. Yeah, there's something went wrong there badly. I think if you go on board with the 54 and watch closely, if his wheel just goes straight right and stays to the right, then we know something went wrong, or even to the left or so. Let's just watch the wheel here. This will explain everything right here.
Do you think it's the tire?
Maybe. I mean, I didn't see much right front damage on the car, so. Well, he didn't take tires well, I assume he didn't take tires at lap 50. Maybe.
He was 13 laps down to the top of the incident. Hunter Clark now out of the race.
I'm baffled on that one.
So Wright, Chris Medford, Donnie Lyons amongst those coming in this time by Brandon Medford, still your leader. Coming up to the closing stages of the stage and turn. Boy, what an interesting part of this race so far. It's been an interesting start to the race, should rather say. Kevin McCann, of note with this caution flag, Chris, is up to the top 5.
Yeah, this is the chance to get some bonus points right now, because we're going to be going green with less than 3 or 4 laps to go in this stage right now. So the battle's on here. You got to get whatever stage points you can get, especially the 33's sake, because again, coming up at the end of stage 2, which is only going to be about a 35 lap run or so, according to my math, you're going to the back at that part. So you got to get what you can get here and get all the stage points you can.
Reich and Chris Medford taking the time to get significant damage repairs done in this caution flag. Drumboy, as well as Harper and Cook Quick coming back in for more damage repair. But it's been an impressive run so far from your top 3 in turn. They've led almost all the laps except for McCann's 3 when he had that start with the tire spin, as well as Brian Reich when he led them around to that other restart after the initial caution flag in the race.
Now, you think the wheel spin was impressive there, 30 laps ago on that restart? Wait until this restart, because now you got tires that are almost completely shot that are going to be trying to go here. So not only are you going to see second gear restart here and probably spinning the tires, you're going to go to third gear and you're probably going to feel the wheel spin. You're going to go to fourth gear and you're probably going to feel the wheel spin. So best advice again in this situation, only because I've been in it for thousands of times, is you want to try to keep the revs as low as possible getting up through the gears. If you get up to about 5,000-6,000, shift up and shift up again, because at that point, the higher the revs, the more the wheel spin you're going to get. So that's the only way to kind of get out of this. Not saying it's going to kill the wheel spin 100%, but at least brings the risk down.
Want to go signal given. Brandon Medford continues to lead. Aaron Smith the second, Brian McCann, Neil Quick, Kevin McCann, Brandon Leclerc, Troy Radford, Mike Cook, Chris Wally, Tim Schofield, the top 10 for this upcoming restart.
Yeah, 16 cars, it looks like, on the lead lap. And so if everything goes the way it's going to go, you might see Ray Radford or Cook Quick or somebody like that get this wave around here once we get the stage caution, which will look like, 4 laps to go when we get the green?
We're coming up to it. It is confirmed to race control. Drivers will end the stage at the end of lap 60. Who will get stage points for the end of the opening stage for the IROC Challenge Series from The Rock? About to find out. About 3 laps to do it. Off and away we go. Brandon Medford with a clean start. Clean start overall. Aaron Smith the second, under attack for second.
Well done by everybody. Well done. Yeah, the 3 underneath the 70 here. Top groove's going to be the way to go here. Smith should be able to clear off turn 2. Actually, he had to get out of it. He got tight.
Still able to get the pole, though, with Smith the second into 3. Sends it hard on the outside. Able to clear on by Brian McCann. Couple laps to decide the stage. Is there enough time to try and rip away the top stage points from Brandon Metford?
Got 3 wide mid-pack with the 14. Got that battle going on. Got the battle for the lead. Battles everywhere.
Tim
Get what you can
Schofield.
get.
Yes, indeed. Get what you can. Right now, Donnie Lyons trying to find a way to get up to Tim Schofield for the last stage points for the opening stage. See some of those battles fare out. Schofield's got a good buffer over the rest of the fights. Coming up to start lap 60.
See if Aaron goes to the top side here, and I would expect that. He's got the 3 there. He's got to be a little defensive here. Yeah, 83. Good run off the corner there.
This
Looks
to
like
close.
just getting them center off.
This to close up stage 1. Brandon Metford hugs the bottom. Aaron Smith the second, not able to reach out forward. Brian and Kevin McCann right behind. Coming up to close lap 60, Brandon Metford leads them to the end of the lap. And to the end of the first stage, Aaron Smith the second, Brian and Kevin McCann, Troy Radford, Neil Quick, Chris Wally, Brandon Leclerc, Mike Cook, and Tim Schofield, the top 10 for stage points.
Yeah, Brandon did a great job there, stage 1, just going out. And the one thing I caught there in that final lap, he did really well, center off, turn 1. Once he got clear of that, it was pretty much his to lose there going through 3 and 4. So great job on Brandon's end.
Brandon Metford, since getting the clean air, has been able to hold on to it. They catch up to the pace car. We may see tire changes come into play. We'll see if anyone likes to take a tire set here. Again, the bonus points picked up with each stage. 10 stage points picked up. Those go towards the regular season points totals. And a stage win for playoff points is accumulated for the postseason in this series. So vital points for the championship race if you are Brandon Metford. We'll see how he plays out strategy as the pit lane opened this time by.
You know, something very underrated going off what you just talked about there, Justin. Kevin McCann finished 4th, Aaron Smith 2nd. So in the end, it's only a 2-point difference there between those 2 drivers. That could have been a lot bigger if Kevin didn't get to the front.
Kevin McCann coming into tonight had a 13-point advantage for reference mark in the regular season standings. See if anyone gets up on the jacks. Brian Reich, the only driver on the lead lap not to pit that time by, interestingly enough.
I don't understand that strategy, but there might be something to it.
And there is tires. There are tires being taken. Up on the jacks go the drivers. 4 tires coming up from Brandon Metford. 4 tires for Aaron Smith the second. Aaron Smith the second takes advantage of pit stall 1 to come away with the race lead.
Wow, almost a 7/10 of a second difference pit time. They were pretty equal on length on pit road, but 7/10 of a difference on the pit crew side of things. So Aaron obviously doing a great job getting into a stall, and his crew doing a great job getting them off pit road. One thing I should mention here about Brian Reich, he pitted at lap 54. I wonder if he took a set of tires there.
He got some damage repairs done. We'll take a break. We'll talk about it and then some after this.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
welcome back to the IROC Challenge Series on GSRC from The Rock. We start Stage 2, Brian Reich, electing to stay out, took tires during one of the previous caution flags, about 8 laps the difference between his and Aaron Smith II's tires for this upcoming restart. So once again, the 11 car in control of the pack.
Yeah, it's a very interesting call. Looking forward to see what happens here in this situation. 8 laps, believe it or not, can make a little bit of a difference, even if it's just 2 or 3 tenths here. So I can see Wright getting it to turn 1, but then after that, I think you're going to see the Wolves come hunting.
Medford falling back to third after the poor pit stop. He'll watch as the tires are off and away. A slow start for Reich. Reich's got a problem. Reich couldn't get going off the blocks. Smith the second leads, and a crash for second on back. A slide to the pack goes Brendan Medford as he gets collected.
Oh, one thing leads to another. Medford, I think he saved the car in the end. I don't see hardly any, a little bit of damage on the left rear near the gas tank. Otherwise, I don't see much damage at all in that 83. Maybe a little bit more now that I see his rear end. That was just a terrible restart. Oh, there. Okay, he gets hit by somebody. But a terrible restart there. It looks like Reich spun the tires.
That's Brandon Leclerc who ends up hitting him. Nowhere for Leclerc to go as a major drift to the corner after 3 wide and a turn 1 doesn't work out after a poor launch from Reich.
There's nowhere to go. Ouch. You got to worry about motor damage on Leclerc now.
He's taken a lot of hard hits that have picked him off the ground a couple times already.
Yeah, he's already got rear end issues. Now he's got front end issues. Come on, Cole. I want you to go out and hit the quarter panel now.
Well, in all seriousness, no, though.
Yes.
Aaron Smith
don't
the
do
second.
That.
Yeah, Aaron Smith the second is now in the race lead. Able to get by cleanly, got a huge jump on the outside as a result of a poor launch from Wright through the gears.
Yeah,
So
Reich's probably kicking himself. No, I'm sorry. Reich's probably kicking himself probably for that move, but you know, sometimes you got to do different things. As they like to say, if you follow the leader, you got to continue to follow the leader. So try something different there. That's what Reich did, and unfortunately, it's going to bite him and bite Medford in this. But it is going to help out drivers that were looking to get a quick lucky dog or a wave around type of situation here. So it looks like Ray Radford, I think is what I saw. Yeah, Radford getting a lucky dog. He's going to be back on the lead lap.
So Ray Radford able to pick up a lap that gets him to 20 on the lead lap. Wright shuffle back to third as a result of that poor restart. Give credit so far, though, to amongst those charging to the pack. Able to slice their way through some of the trouble now. Curtis Rogers, we talked about him earlier. Rogers, with Tim Schofield electing to roll to the pit lane, jumping up to 9th once more in the 48.
Yeah, you mentioned the 12 here. He's coming down pit road, as you said, but Curtis Rogers, yeah, up to 9th. How about Jamie Abril up to the 10th position there? I'm wondering the 12 here, what this could be, maybe a fuel stop or something here. I'm going to see what he does here on pit road. He pulls into his stall right now. And, of course, he picks a good time to overshoot it.
Yeah, was
fuel only topped off.
Might be hoping to go a little bit further in case the cautions breed cautions, because this is a track where it can happen. Yeah,
absolutely, especially at this part of the race now. We've gone through stage number 1. We've seen some hit and miss type cautions and stuff. We've had some green flag running. And now you got to be careful because you got cars with fresh tires and different strategies and cars from the back trying to work their way through. So all different types of things that could potentially happen. So, yeah, cautions breeding cautions can definitely play a role here.
Brian McCann continuing to charge forward. Let's take a look at the track conditions, as they did start off pretty hot. It's worth noting, Chris, in qualifying, the temperatures were around 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's dropped down to 98. The in-sim time is already past 5 o'clock, already approaching 5:30. Those track conditions getting cooler and cooler as this race progresses tonight.
Yeah, and that's just going to add more grip to this track, and by doing that, well, that's going to eat more tires up now. The one thing that counters the grip is the rubber down on the track, so it's going to be very tricky, but I think you're going to see these cars continue to probably work their way towards the tighter condition the later it gets into this race. And what happens when you're tight, especially coming off that corner right there, turn 2, you're going to push up. And if you push up into another car or the wall and that kind of thing, we could see some more issues later. So Just got to continue to race the track at this point. We're not even halfway. We're still 5 laps from it.
Approaching the halfway mark, Aaron Smith the second again, the race leader, 13 led laps. Brandon Metford, who's led the most, all the way back in 17th as a result. What happened on the previous restart? iRacing pace car dropping off. 80 laps to go overall from the Rock. Stage 2 continues with a good launch from Aaron Smith the second.
Once again, Reich struggling.
Something's got to be wrong with the 11 car here. Brian Reich absolutely slow again down the middle of the straightaway by at least 10 miles an hour. What is going on with Reich?
It's got to be the tires, or maybe he's trying to save them or something, but definitely had a terrible restart here. He's got to be spinning them or something that's causing him to check up, and Reich is, he's really getting pretty much free-falling through the field right now.
For the lead up front, though, it is shuffling. Brian McCann tried the outside, tries it again on Aaron Smith. Smith able to hug the bottom, though, as Kevin McCann watches in the wings.
Yeah, both McCanns trying to jump him there. You see on board with Kevin looking down on him there. Look at him sawing on the wheel on the straightaway even, but you know what? Smooth wheel, up, little loose there off, and now he's really loose off, fighting it, swatting flies. That's typical Rock right there.
Look at Brian, though, with the charge. Late break, Smith to the race lead. Back to the point, Brian McCann.
You got that going on, and not to mention, let's go back here towards mid-pack here where the 12 is, the 79. These guys have been 2 and 3 wide as we've been watching that, as McCann runs the fastest lap of the race. But these guys have been all spread out 2 and 3 wide as after that pass for the lead. But these guys trying to sort their way through here.
Donnie Lyons just about hit the Thunder Alley's back straightaway wall. Forced back out of it as Tim Schofield able to take advantage. Schofield gaining up much of the ground he just let up, mind you. As a result of the top off, look who's gaining it back, though. The Medfords, Brandon and Chris battling behind him.
Nice slider there by the 20 as he slides into position. I don't think we've said his name. Abril all night slides up on the 21. And it gets tight off the corner. 21 almost plows him. Here comes the 00. Gets tight. The 14 coming underneath. So, I mean, you got Abril. You've got the 21 of Leclerc, who's back up there. Mike Cook, Pendergrass, all these guys under a blanket.
See 2x2 now forming. And already some of the damage really showcasing itself for Brendan Leclerc as a result of the last hit. Mike Cook forced to check up. That allows Pendergrass to clear on by in the 14. A lot of shuffling as a result of some of these checkups in the heart of the field.
This is getting really racing. You said the Medfords here. They come, the 83 and 46, trying to work their way through. It's very feisty right now. Because remember, this is not as long of a stage as stage 1 is. So you're going to get a 79 knocks the wall down, appliance. But this second caution is going to be coming really quickly to end the stage number 2.
Right now, take a look at Mike Cook. Looking to ride away from the trouble. And someone's popped up the motor. That's Brandon Leclerc. Brandon Leclerc has lost the motor.
I worried about that when he center punched that 83 under that before that caution. I was like, man, I hope that motor's okay. And as we see, unfortunately, it's not. It's cooked, and unfortunately, he's going to be spending, I'm pretty used to this, 31 minutes on pit road, at least.
Up for the lead, though. It's the battle of the McCanns. Kevin McCann takes the point.
Kevin getting whatever stage points he can. This might be him working with his brother a little bit. As I think about this, you know, why not have Kevin get out there, get whatever points he can get, knowing that he's got to start in the back here for this next stage. So it's going to be hard for him to get to the front.
Kevin McCann, the Pied Piper. Keep in mind, when it comes to brotherly love, though, Auto Club comes to mind because they were running each other for 3 laps during that race for the race win earlier on in this series.
Not to mention, last week at Talladega, those two worked with each other pretty much for 98 of the 100 laps. And then Kevin decided to drop to the bottom, hanging his brother up, and went and got the win himself. So I don't know how much that maybe played a role out here racing, or if that's just, you know what, I'm going to beat my brother. So, you know, that kind of deal, like a Kyle Kurt Busch type thing. So that could have played a role also.
You never know what can happen between family members. Let's put it that way. Kevin McCann having a strong season. Brian McCann, plenty of sim racing experience. 5K iRacing, some of the races, a fair bit of official action as well. He wants to lead back already to the inside of his brother.
Going to be a tough pass to make. Kevin trying to squeeze him there just a little bit. Brian is that bottom lane as we get longer and longer. He did a great job getting by the 2-car earlier for the lead, but Brian has done a great job painting that line and probably trying to save tires a little bit here as he tries to make that pass, but it's going to be tough on that bottom.
Once again, looking at Kevin McCann as he rides in front of the 3. The top 5 have broken away from the rest of the field. They have been the classes of the field when they've settled out. Troy Radford, though, amongst those at the caboose of that train, amongst those able to pick up a lot of speed as this race has progressed to keep up with the Kevin McCanns of the track.
Troy has done really well here. He's worked his way up to the 5th position, and not to mention, I know he's not a part of the pack, but look at the car in 6th, Chris Wally. He was in the wall back at the beginning of this race, had to get the damage fixed. You can still see scuff marks on his right side, but he has slowly progressed himself up into the top 6 here. It is only about 2.5 seconds back from Radford there, so he's continuing his march. But also at the same time, as you mentioned, Radford doing a fantastic job in the 94 also.
Right now, both of them, him and Neil Quick should say, committed to the top. The top 3 committed to the very bottom, so differences between those preferences coming in again. So far, wrapping the yellow line seems to be the way that works now with the colder track.
Oh, most contact there. 00 got loose. And I'd see the 12 took him 3 wide there. Schofield and Pendergrass, that got real close off turn 2. Great save on everybody's part. They progressed, but these 4 here have just been arguing with each other without punching each other.
Brian McCann wraps the bottom for the race lead. Kevin McCann shuffle back out. That allows Quick and Radford to close in, or should I say battle it out as they try and keep up with that.
Yeah, remember, Quick's been running that top side the whole entire race here, so he's definitely got himself in rhythm here. This is going to be a tough pass to make. Aaron Smith down on the bottom now trying to take second, so these leaders really getting into fighting now as Leclerc is taking his car officially behind the wall.
2 by 2, a couple rows deep. Looking to take advantage, Brian McCann wrapping the bottom, Aaron Smith. Smith passes by Kevin McCann. Troy Radford closes up and closes the pass on Neil Quick. Quick, though, thought about a peek as lap traffic coming up the track.
Cameras on 1st through 5th right now, but let me just share this. From 1st to 14th, there is all but 4 cars within 0.2 of each other. Everybody's fighting everybody right now at the Rock.
That's to be expected with the tough circuit. Brian McCann nearly ran over the lap traffic of Brian Reich. A big drop for the 11 since that restart. That shuffles back a little bit, that battle for second on back in turn. But that lap traffic could become pivotal, as well as some of the defensive moves that could come into play with those looking to battle for position in the heart of the groupings. You see, that's now open up the spot for 3rd.
Radford, yep, to the inside. Here's going underneath 33. You wonder if Kevin maybe burned up the tires, trying to get the bonus points, and now he's starting to fall back and watch those points go by the wayside. Probably going to get picked by this lap car here in turn 2. Going to catch him at a bad moment off the corner here.
Troy Radford looking strong this run, able to close around. Now lap traffic moves to the outside. Aaron Smith II has closed up a ton of ground on Brian McCann, though. How about 3/10 this lap just about after dead even times with McCann last time?
Aaron doing a great job here, just trying to kind of stalk the 3 car, trying to find that mistake from the 3 as he clips the apron. The 3 does McCann. Yeah, and Aaron almost got the wall there, so mistakes on both cars' part. There's McCann kind of tags it getting into the corner. But you just see kind of similar lines right now. You wonder what what Aaron's going to have to do different from Brian here. Brian has been stuck to that paint this whole entire race here. I think Aaron's going to have to go to the top.
Right, closing towards the final moments of the stage, mind you. It's coming in quick.
Troy Radford is coming, by the way. They both ran similar lap times, the top 3 last time by. But Radford is knocking it down right now, lap time-wise, within a second of this leader, or with the lead group here.
Look at that, though. You see a lot of pluses the past couple. Troy Radford with some of the battling. Lost about 4/10 at 1 mark. Smith Right now, the distance back about 7/10 behind the 70 as they're starting to approach a modified as well as a bobbly car.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that caused those modifieds.
Yeah, that's a good thing today. You never know when you become a modified in a field of Xfinity Series cars.
The thing about it is last week the modifieds were all running up front, it seemed like. We had so many damaged cars at the end of Talladega. We had modifieds, we had late models, we had Xfinity cars. I mean, we had everything out there last week. Kidding on the late models.
Yeah, you never know. But Aaron Smith continuing trying to match these times to traffic has been the major hindrance, though, when it comes to the 70's progression, it seems, as they now try and lap David Trumbley.
Yeah, Trumbley's going to get out of the way here. Looks like, he's going to trap the 70 here if he don't get out of it. Bad timing right there. That probably hurt the momentum of Aaron Smith, but it's very tricky. They're trying to pass a lap car.
Meanwhile, bit of a battle has formed up for 8th spot. Chris Medford trying to hold off. Cook nearly gets turned.
Mike has been getting very loose off turn 2. Oh, that looked weird. A bad angle into the corner there. It's almost like he tried to get to the top lane maybe purposely. I don't want to say he maybe tried to sideswipe somebody, but that's what it kind of looked like there. But it looked like maybe more Mike trying to get to the top groove as the 22 or the 12 tried to go to the bottom.
That's Tim Schofield, who is currently riding in the 9th position. Let's take another look at that real quick. Senior contact, and then here comes the 12.
And 00 gets loose there, and it's like he wants to get to the top. That's exactly what it is. But that's not a good angle to get in from turn 2 on the back straightaway there. I mean, maybe one of those you maybe work your way to the top, but don't just throw the car up there. That car's not going to want to turn, or if you get on the right rear, it's going to want to turn too much real quick. Radford under a second now to the leader.
He is closing up in part. Some of the traffic has helped a bit. He is struggling with some of that other traffic, though, as well. You see he's lost more ground again, this time trying to get around Bill Walker. That's been the tough balancing act, trying to get around the traffic easily and quickly to keep up with the top two's pace.
How about all three of them ran 71s last time by, this time by a 71, a 71, and a 78. They're on top of each other time-wise.
Yeah, but the caution flag, it's in front of the leaders. No contact for them as Jamie Abram moves to the bottom of the circuit. The yellow flag is out for an incident in turns 3 and 4. And this started on the backstretch, I think, with Curtis Rogers.
And both of them getting real loose. Jamie being very shallow. Oh, boy.
Getting loose down the middle of the straightaway.
You know, I could see that potentially happening, and I always say that because when you're out here on older tires, something I'm very nervous about, because when you're out there on, say, a very low number, as we're going to start probably seeing some cars on pit road here as we get close to the stage, but when you're on a lower steering ratio number, you got to remember, the more you turn the wheel, the quicker the reaction. When you're on older tires, you already feel like you're on top of the track at that point. So one little, just quick little movement with the wheel, and your car can dive one way or another there. So I want to give the benefit of the doubt in that situation and say that maybe there's something like that to where the car hooked into the other just from maybe moving the wheel a little bit. Again, benefit of the doubt.
And now the strategy dice gets to be rolled here. Kevin McCann, Donnie Lyons, Curtis Rogers, Mike Harper, all electing to pit here. Still in the midst of stage 2 here, so this could get interesting. It looks like McCann taking the time here to at least take
tires. He took fuel, yeah.
Yeah, took a little bit. I think he did take the fuel.
I'm trying to think like Kevin here, which I don't even know Kevin, so I'm just doing my best here. Because he's going to start in the back for the end of the stage, which is going to be coming up here, I would say, in the next probably 10 laps, if I do the math correctly here. 75% of 150 should be the one...
About 112.
That's what happens when you grow up in Florida. You don't know how to do math. I say that because I'm from there. Yep, 112, as you mentioned. So we're looking at, what, 12 laps to go or so before the end of the stage here. So take fuel. There's no point in taking tires at this point because you already kind of know where you're going to be restarting. So at this point, it's just refuel yourself. And probably, you know what? I could see him just kind of hanging back now at this point and just saying, you know what? Whatever stage points I can get out of this is fine. But otherwise, I'm back here already. I'm just going to stay back here.
This caution, though, sets up an intriguing battle for this race lead because you have Brian McCann, who had been matching times with Aaron Smith II. You have Troy Radford went in clean space, who's been able to match some of the lap times. Traffic has been a bit of a hindrance, though. The top three might be able to brawl it out again for stage points here and for the stage victory coming up.
And you might say this is our drinking word or two of the night. Wheel spin. We're going to be watching that again coming up on this restart. If I'm McCann, and Justin, your opinion on this might be interesting. Would you take the top line here to restart?
That's the intriguing mark, right? I think we've seen, though, the bottom has been strong if you're able to clear on by into the restarts. Not sure if you know
Which is
it's
kind of
safe.
my thought. Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is if you start from the top, you're going to get the restart to go. You'll catch Aaron Smith sleeping. You should be able to clear right to the bottom at that point and maybe even get the jump ahead with Smith that blocks off potentially the faster car behind you right now in Troy Radford.
Looks like McCann, though, chose the bottom.
He did. Averill going behind the wall.
That brings us down to 20 cars running on the circuit. Right now, 15 are on the lead lap.
Chris Wally up there in the top 5 now, both Medford 6th and 7th. Cream rising to the top.
And with how dominant Brandon was earlier, we might see Brandon Medford trying to really push forward here to close out how this stage could fare out. Brian McCann ready to lead them to the green.
We have 10 laps to go here. Or 9 to go when we get to green.
See how this plays out. The blue and yellow machine of Brian McCann off and away with a clean restart. Some tire spin from about row 4 on back. No major bubbles, though. McCann is clear into 1.
Right off the bat, Radford sticking it in there inside lane, but Smith should get the run here off the corner. He does. It almost gets the wall doing it, but clean. Looks like, what, the front 11, single file.
Good run for the 70 machine. 2 of the top drivers on the track throughout the day today. Smith II closing up the run. Troy Radford losing ground, though, in a 1 and 2 for lap 105.
McCann with a good exit on corner there. You saw Aaron kind of gain going into the corner, but of course, if you ease into the corners, you can drive it hard off, and that's exactly the separation that we're seeing right here. Not much of a difference that time by, but watch here in turn 1. Let's see if Brian gets a little loose there off the bumps.
See right behind him, too. Neil Quick having to play defense for 4th, the Medfords. Medford's nowhere to go. In fact, they're playing defense on each other. Brandon and Chris side by side, all as the leaders start to close in on each other as well with the front of the pack.
Yeah, Aaron getting a real good run there off turn 1 and 2 that time by. This time Brian goes up the track. Radford goes up the track himself, going to lose a little bit of momentum. It's going to be tight here. I think Aaron just needs to keep hitting his marks here, but Brian's been taking it very easy into the corners, I've noticed. Oh, that time he sent it.
Yeah, that time going hard inside. Aaron Smith II going hard from the outside on the diamond. Here's Brian McCann. See him laser focused on his marks as they match the line into 3 and 4.
Surprise, Aaron's not going topside here, 3 and 4 also.
See which line Brian McCann chooses this time. Taking a peek outside, going low. Looks like Smith is committed to the high side. Now to the middle goes Brian McCann. Here comes Aaron Smith.
Brian kind of missed his apex there into the corner. He got in way late there on the apex of turn 1, I noticed.
You can almost see the facial reaction knowing he missed that corner.
He's fighting. The one thing he's missing right now is that 75-ounce bottle of water he had last week.
No time for that. With how much force you see that wheel having to work his way around the bottom. Top 2 are pulled away by 0.4 of a second or so from Troy Radford. No slip-ups from Brian McCann yet. Aaron Smith II to the back bumper, coming up to start lap 110.
Man, it's getting close. I'm surprised that they're just following each other right here. I don't know if Aaron thinks the bottom lane. There he goes to the top here. Let's see if he gets to run off. And Troy's going even higher.
Trying to find a way to keep up. Here comes Smith.
Good
Contact
run.
to the wall. To the inside goes Aaron Smith. More contact and scrapage for Brian McCann. He's lost the bottom to the 70. And he
Aaron
gives
with a
up the
good run.
ghost.
Yep.
Here comes Troy Runford as the caution comes out to end the stage. Aaron Smith picks up the stage point.
Wow. How big is that not only for the regular season battle, but also a bonus point, as you mentioned, for later on this season, going into the hands of Aaron Smith with that pass?
Troy Radford tried to make it 3 wide. If there was another lap in that stage, it would have gotten even wilder. But Smith II able to hold on. And now the strategy gets interesting. Most of the field has been out here for 49 laps. Some drivers as least as 11 laps, though. On the fuel, Kevin McCann, Mike Harper amongst those. Keep in mind the 33 has to be the last off the pit lane for stage 3.
Yeah, you're going to see all the leaders probably come in here for tires. Just doing the math here again, I'm pretty sure these guys are good to go on fuel to the finish. So, I mean, it's pretty much take tires here and go, and that should leave everybody one set in case of a late caution later on.
In the lucky dog spot, the only driver lapped down was Cook Quick. Time the caution for the stage. So pit stop time for your lead lap competitors. Aaron Smith II, 18 lead laps so far tonight. Brian McCann with 40, 33 for Brendan Medford, and 11 for Kevin McCann. Expecting tires to come into play here.
Very underrated feature of this track is right here in the turn of pit road. It's very easy to overshoot your pit stall. Not many tracks on iRacing where you're turning into your pit stall. Right there, you see the 83 overshoot.
That's going to hurt Brandon Medford's positions on the racetrack. Brian McCann having a lengthy time in the boxes. Mike Harper comes off and away. Harper with a 7-second pit stop. No tires for the 4.
Oh, but you know what? He might have just got himself a penalty coming off pit road there. He went to go up on turn 2 before the blue line and had to cut back down. I'm not sure. I know tracks are different when it comes to the settings and that kind of thing on iRacing when it comes to the penalty and stuff here. You wonder if he might get it one for getting on track a little too early off turn 2.
We'll take a break. Lots to discuss as Mike Harper leads it at the Rock.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Mike Harper on old tires leads the field at the Rock, coming to 35 laps to go. The IROC Challenge Series. Justin Pritz, Chris Gowell with you with our producer, Joe Peak. Cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. It's about to get interesting as Harper, remember, is on much older rubber. He had a couple times he had pit in the 4, but an interesting roll of the dice for Harper.
You know what I wonder as we come to the green here? I wonder if Harper has either run out of tires or only has a set left because he's made 6 pit stops tonight.
Lots of stops from Harper. He's in control of the pack. Aaron Smith the second. Watches that they wait all the way to Bonnie's Green. Aaron Smith the second, though, with a better run into one. Harper lets him have it. Troy Radford takes advantage as Brian McCann gets boxed in.
Not where you want to be if you're McCann. You want to make this pass really quickly, and he's going to right here, it looks like.
Radford to second. Brian McCann going for third. Chris Medford looking for fourth as well. The four dropping back, letting by the competitors as Aaron Smith gets the clean air.
Should say Kevin McCann restarted back in 16th officially after the restart.
Mike Harper just got hit in the back end by Neil Quick. They've all saved it in 1 and 2. We stay green. Couple more drivers near to the wall.
4 wide in the back straightaway. One car going. The 33 of Kevin McCann just passed like 4 cars and out contact with the 14 of Pendergrass getting knocked up the track. Kevin McCann just made a move. It has jumped up to the 9th position because of all that argy-bargy.
That may take a second look, and that may take a little bit of highlight looks too, because McCann up to 9th was at the tail end of the field, remember, because he is a 2-time winner and has to start at the back in stage 3 per the rules. Take a look at the GSRC replay. And if you go back to the previous lap to the flag stand even for McCann, he comes from a ways back.
Watch this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. And oh, by the way, he's going to enter shallow, knocks the 14 up into the wall. 5 cars on the back straightaway, which is not the longer straightaway, by the way, here.
He had started the lap in the teens. Kevin McCann, one of the quick drivers.
83's around. Brandon Medford, front straightaway. No caution.
He's able to get it rolling, though. We stay green as he's out of the grass. Brandon Medford, who had been dominant in the opening stage, having troubles. He was trying to pass by Neil Quick.
He's got the insider. I wonder if he gets loose here on the bumps. No, he clear. Oh, he just gets the wall. Those bumps sent him up to the wall pretty much.
Ends up knocking the wall down, sends him into the grass, and he's now in 16th for his troubles. The top 3 have ran away from the rest of the battles. Smith, McCann, Radford now looking to battle for the race lead. McCann is closing again, though. Last time by was a 10th quicker.
28 laps to go here. Pretty much no holding back, even though that's the easy way of putting it right now. You want to say no holding back because you only got 28 laps to go. But again, let's turn it around now. You got 28 laps to go. Save your tires because the leader could burn them up and all of a sudden you have the faster car.
Tire management going to be huge a part of this race. McCann looking outside. Not able to get the poke yet as he tries the diamond.
He's got the run here.
Here comes Brian McCann again for the lead. Troy Radford watches. Squeeze back from Smith. Aaron Smith able to hold on to the outside for now as here comes the 94.
Remember, McCann, he's been pretty much stuck on that yellow line all race long. The only time we really saw him off that groove was right there in that previous lap or when he's lost the lead. But Brian has been very patient tonight, and I've noticed that's a real good quality of his, and I can see the same thing potentially right here. Is he's just going to be patient and let the 70 burn his stuff up.
Remember, there's rear end damage on that 94 machine. Clean cars for your top 2. That can play a big difference. That smoke, by the way, is David Trumley. He has blown him over. The 96 is done for the night. In turn. Barbecues are not a good thing when it comes to driving a race car, though. Let's put it that way.
That's fair.
25 laps to go. Brian McCann still setting him up. They are matching, if not a little bit quicker times for Brian McCann right now. Troy Radford has also picked up the tempo. These are the 3 quickest cars on the racetrack.
They're all 3 within a 10th right now. A 13th for Aaron Smith, an 08 for McCann, and 03 for Radford. All that time by.
Question mark's going to be who's going to be able to take this checkered. Radford's already got a win. So does Aaron Smith. Brian McCann looking for win number 1 of the season.
I don't know. For some reason, something tells me I like the way Radford is just kind of hanging back there, letting these guys kind of race, He's letting the track come to him, letting the handle come to him.
Caution.
Oh,
And it's the other Radford, Ray Radford, who has crashed it in the 47. He got some help, though, from Brandon Mefford, and we're under yellow.
hey, Brandon getting a good run there, and maybe Ray a little under speed with the damage on his car, front and rear.
Right here.
Slight net code, but at the same time, Radford kind of shallow off the corner there a little bit, and I think Brandon just misread that. I mean, I can't put that on Brandon at all. I mean, when you're shallow off the corner, you expect the driver, when you're coming off turn 4, let it just kind of drift its way up the wall, and Ray just kind of kept the shallow off.
Oh, and some strategy. Aaron Smith coming in, and it looks like tires may come into play here. Kevin McCann, and that one less set, though,
I like that
now
move.
becomes huge.
I like that move. Kevin stays out here, going to take the lead to everybody else on the lead lap on pit road here. And the reason why I say I like this move right now is you only win about 10 laps on a set of tires, which, yes, 10 laps at the Rock means a lot. However, if you can go another 10 laps right now, you're going to have 10 laps to go in one guy with a set of tires left on the track, and that's Kevin McCann potentially. And we only have, 15 cars on the lead lap right now? I'm okay with that chance.
That's a mighty if, though. Remember, he has one less set than everybody else. Aaron Smith, the first off. This now gets interesting how Kevin McCann can play this.
So I wonder, you know what? So as I think about that, as you bring up that great point, Kevin probably doesn't have that extra set of tires, so he's got to stay out.
It's a catch-22 almost for the 33. He needed the caution to catch up, but he also didn't need the caution because of the tire sets potentially.
Man, it's like, yeah, that's a fair question to ask now. It's like, what would you rather have in this situation? I kind of would rather just stay green then.
The interesting in how this plays out as they take 2 to go this time around will also be, does the restart play out in a similar way to the last time? Remember how things boxed up around Mike Harper? Does it box up around the 33?
I don't think it's going to be as bad, and I don't mean this as disrespect to Mr. Harper, but I just saw this hat on Mike. What? He's enjoying himself, I'd say, huh? It's the first time I've seen it.
He's been wearing the hat. He's been wearing the hat. What about the beard?
The beard's on spot. That's on game right there.
What makes the beard on game?
The beard is awesome. It's a Scalinism. It's words I come up with out of randomness sometimes. The beard is on game. It's on fleek. It's on point. It's awesome.
You can tell he's looking calm though. From the 7th spot, Mike is.
The hat's awesome.
Lots can happen in front of him.
Go ahead. Joe's going to eat me up for that one, by the way. On game.
Oh, don't worry. There are several
I've been around
moments.
soup too long.
Well, we're about to get rolling here. 1 to go. Kevin McCann, again, staying out. Has one less set than the rest of the pack the rest of the regular season. Playing things out. So this gets tricky for the 33. Aaron Smith on freshies. Brian McCann on freshies with Troy Radford as well.
Interesting. Kevin picked the inside lane in front of his brother. Interesting.
Get that emoji out with the interesting face out.
The old hand on the face thing? Yeah.
It's about to get interesting how this plays out with 19 to go. 19 to go from Rockingham. Kevin McCann, a good launch. Off and away. Brian McCann picking up steam. This may play out well for Brian McCann if he can get to the inside of the 33. The 70 stays on the outside. Playing lanes as Kevin McCann as they get clear for second.
Yeah, top 4 single file here. Kevin might be okay right now for about a lap or 2, and then eventually these tires probably will come to... And never mind, forget the lap or 2. How about a corner or 2?
Parking it in front of the field, Kevin McCann on the bottom. Aaron Smith trying to force on the high side. Brian's chosen that same line. The diamond coming in. Clipping the bottom is Kevin McCann. He checks up. Aaron Smith to the lead. Here comes Brian.
Boy, look at them hands. Even on a straightaway fight, you can see the force feedback is even arguing with him.
Big hold up. Big checkup. Brian McCann not liking that. Finally able to clear on by for second on the send, but that cost him a bit of time. Here's now Kevin McCann who plays it for third.
Bradford got loose so much. Another car hit the wall. Looked like Medford, maybe, or Schofield got the wall. One of them two.
That's the battle just behind the 33 that's built up for fourth. Remember, Neil Quick's been quick much of the race. He's now forced to the bottom, though, as Chris Medford looks to attack the high side.
Really impressed with how Kevin's been able to hold it in the top three here with those older tires.
Huge show of talent, but the tires falling off as he lost the bottom.
Sorry, I was going to say Mike Cook hit the wall off too again.
That's towards the back, though, now for 10th. 15 laps to go. Inside line again for Quick. Quick just cannot get the inside to roll. He's boxed in fact, on the inside.
Yeah, he's got to slide up here almost and follow the 46. He's going to have to just take what he can get out of this right now, get past this 33 card and get back to the fight. Unfortunately, though, but hey, that's part of racing right now. That's part of the strategy as 46 gets a little free off.
Quick trying to clear him by now on the outside. It's for a groove. Now up to the top 5. Again, likely expected to slip on back here in terms of the older rubber. The other McCann is closing up again, though, for the race lead. Worth noting, it's down to 2/10 again between the 70 and the 3 as Schofield looks to pass Kevin.
13 laps to go, down to a 10th right now. Brian is there as Aaron goes back to his top side here.
Here's a look at the lead. Brian looking to pick up another W in this series, looking for his first in the season mark. He's 6th in the points coming into tonight. Aaron Smith looking for his second victory.
About who can get the momentum and off which line here. 3 jumps up the top here. That's a little different than what he's been doing. See if he can cross him back over.
These two have been fighting tough all race. They've been two of the most dominant drivers for a reason. They have nearly... Good run indeed from that 70. 11 laps to go.
It looks like Brian is sending it into turn 1, but then Aaron is sending it into turn 3, so they're kind of even off each time. But Brian, a great run off turn 2 that time.
Big set on the bottom again from the 3. 10 laps to go from the Rock.
Bradford about 3/10 back right now, running similar lap times. You know, I kind of mentioned 2004, that Cup race. I know this is Xfinity on iRacing, but you had Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, and there was actually a third car in that battle for about 20 or 30 laps, and that was Jamie McMurray in the 42 car in that race. It's kind of like the similar right here with these 3. So I'm seeing similar things here. Caution.
And this changes everything. It's a wreck for 14th. It's Curtis Rogers. The 48,
forget everything I just said.
His second incident of the race. And again, it's with the 20.
Ooh. Got a little loose there up the track he went. And obviously when you're in a modified, you're fighting that car all the way around here. So, and then all of a sudden they just hip check each other.
Same corner, same spot.
Same verse, second, was it same chorus, second verse? I forget what that quote is.
Well, both of them are modifieds now. And now this sets up a late race restart. And now the fisticuffs could come out amongst this top 4, if not top 6.
So now you got to wonder who's the better car on the short run. I almost think that's Aaron Smith at this point.
Yeah, Aaron Smith, a longtime sim racer plenty of league experience. Good chance he can pick up the W here, but remember, Brian McCann is in the same boat. You look in that car, there is that sticker from previous success in this series for a reason.
Very interesting here.
Previous
and
champion.
We got, what, 3 green, white checkers, if I remember seeing that correctly. So, obviously, still plenty of laps here to go in this race. You know, fuel's not a factor, so we won't mention that word again. So, it's very intriguing what's going to happen here because, again, you got everybody on the same set of tires now to get to the finish of this race. But this is where I've always been a fan of trying to save that set of tires for a late caution like this, because now you've had everybody come to pit road. They have tires, so they couldn't pit this time around. If you're that car that comes in and gets the tires now, this race might get handed to you. But unfortunately, there's not that driver right now, I believe. Unless there's something I don't know.
Keep in mind, Aaron Smith picked up his victory earlier this season at Daytona. He's the winningest driver in the history of the series currently. The last time Brian McCann won was to walk it off in June at Auto Club to pick up his second championship.
There's familiarity between the Rock and Auto Club, and it's not much. Older surface.
2 winningest drivers in the campaign. The third winningest is in 7th on old tires, remembering Kevin McCann. Expecting him to drop back here towards the end of this race.
I wonder how this is going to affect him as I think about this, Justin, because you're going to get a reset on these tires a little bit. So it's going to cool him down a little bit. You wonder if it might actually even him out more with the field.
It's going to be interesting if he is able to hold on. With 1 to go, we're coming up to a 5-lap shootout. You like Darren Smith's short run pace. Can he hold on for 5 more laps with a hard charging McCann?
And you also want to know how much is Troy Radford, if he's been holding anything back. Has he been? You got Chris Medford, another driver who's been kind of working his way up here through the field. He's back up here in the 4th position now. Neil Quick, he's been pretty fast. Can he get up here and compete? And how about that 6th place position? Tim Schofield has been just kind of working his way up through the field, and he's going to try to sneak out a top 5 here. So very interesting collection of 6 here as we come to the green, Justin.
This to decide who comes away with $100 for the Dash for Cash. Your top competitors for the Dash for Cash up at the front. iRacing pace car drops off. 5 laps to go from the Rock. Green flag is out. Aaron Smith with a good launch. Brian McCann tries to keep up. The battle is on for 3rd to start as McCann dives to the bottom.
Bradford not able to clear Medford here. Now he's still not clear. Medford with the runoff. 1 car pounds the wall. Donnie Lyons in trouble. Turn 2 back straightaway now. It is the 79 of Donnie Lyons.
And that sets up a potential green-white checkered finish to decide the Dash for Cash. That was for 11th position. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I saw somebody hit the wall off turn 2, and it's just a chain reaction from there. Donnie goes into 1 here. He clears the 14 of Pendergrass. And right there, double aught hits the wall, and bada bing. Ouch.
Bada boom to the inside wall.
Another modified.
Taking our look. Take a listen.
That turn 2 on a restart is so... It's so tricky. When I race this track, whenever I get the opportunity to, I almost treat turn 2 at the Rock like Darlington. And what I mean by that is anytime I'm in the outside lane, I'm going to do everything I possibly can, even if I lose 2 or 3 spots, to get to the bottom coming off that corner. Because if I'm anywhere off that line coming off of turn 2, it's almost automatic you're going to hit the wall. And these guys have done a fantastic job, and it was unfortunate that the 00 there just got tight. You saw them kind of go up the track almost on the throttle too much and just knock the wall down. It's very easy to do with this track from that group.
And now, this now does indeed approach the green white checker trigger this time around. Remember, I have a grand total of 3 available in this series. We'll have to see how this is played out. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Chris Medford cleared Troy for third there as the caution came out. So Troy's now back to the 4th position. Radford is. So we got a new person in third as this caution came out, and checking on Kevin McCann. He is held on to 7th.
Keep in mind, Chris is also in contention for the Dash for Cash. So that's going to be the interesting play here. It looks like, at the very least, the top 5 are in contention for that mark to win $100 here if they can take this checkered flag as we've gone into GWC territory.
Now, obviously, I'm going to throw the obvious out here. I don't know Brian McCann that well. I don't know Medford or Radford, any of these guys as well as maybe some would. So I'm going to throw this out as just a question, and I probably know the answer, but just in case. $100 on the line. Is that front fender worth $100?
I've seen big things happen for $10.
I'm just saying. $10 really for a front? Wow.
I have to see what plays out for the Dash for Cash finish here. As we get ready for the restart. One of a few Dash for Cashes this season, mind you.
I'm just thinking here, I mean, if you're Brian McCann, you and Aaron have been running almost similar lines. I'm pretty sure you're not going to see Aaron Smith come off the bottom. If Brian McCann is going to make the pass for the win, it's going to have to be on the top side, or he is going to have to probably uproot the 70 off the bottom lane. And I think you're going to have the same kind of situation for the 46. And I think for the 94 is the same. Now, I will throw this out there, just kind of watching the restarts closely. I've noticed Aaron has gone early the last few times here, so don't be surprised if he stays consistent here. I would expect another kind of early timed restart here for Aaron.
Looking aboard Troy Radford as we approach the restart zone. If we take the white flag, the next flag ends the race. Simple as that. If we get a caution before we take the white flag, that will trigger the second of 3 green-white checkers here at the Rock. 3 attempts available if necessary. Green flag is out. Aaron Smith with a great launch. Brian McCann tries to keep up, but it's Chris Medford to the inside of the 3.
That is not what Brian needed to see as the car side by side. He's going to clear him off turn 2 here, but he gets a real, never mind, he gets a little tight there. 46 with a good run off too.
Brian McCann tries to reach out to the 70. Coming up to the white flag, this time by $100 on the line. Final time around from the Rock.
He's got to send it here.
He sends it to the outside. One chance to do it. McCann time is the corner. Too far back. 2 clean corners away for a $100 payday is Aaron Smith.
Medford up into the wall. Turn 3.
That's in the battle for third. Big launch behind, but it's Aaron Smith who picks up the Dash for Cash victory at the Rock. Second to Brian McCann, Chris Medford, and Troy Radford with Neil Quick, the top 5.
Yeah, I brought up the Medford deal. It looked like somebody had sent him, but I think he actually tried the video game move. I literally think he tried to get up there, just run the wall, and try to get up to the outside and maybe have any kind of chance to get to the win there. And he did it within rules, by the way, because I know there's rules against that.
Aaron Smith picks up the victory and ends the night $100 richer. The 70 gets to burn it down, his second victory of the season, and makes the regular season point standings ever more intriguing after this run to the Rock. The celebration is on. Good run indeed, and you mentioned for Kevin McCann, who's even celebrating. But it's Aaron Smith who gets to go to victory lane. Post-race coverage coming up in just a moment. You're watching GSRC.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Welcome back to The Rock for post-race coverage for the IROC Challenge Series in the first Dash for Cash race of the campaign. $100 and a large winner's check presented by Lucky Finn Project now go the way of the number 70, Aaron Smith, who picks up his second victory in this series this season. Brian McCann comes home in second with Chris Medford in third. Troy Radford picks up top 5, finishing in fourth. Neil Quick covers from some early troubles to finish in fifth. Tim Schofield picks up a top 10 in sixth, with Kevin McCann on old tires finishing in seventh. Brendan Medford in eighth, Mike Cook in ninth, and Chris Wally, your top 10.
The rest of these guys pretty much had to fight for their lives, it seems like, throughout this race. How about 11th place Mike Harper almost gets a top 10 with his strategy he had to take care of. Curtis Rogers, Kyle Pendergraft, Cook Quick with a 14th place finish. Donnie Lyons, of course, had that tough wreck at the end of the race, finishing 15th. Bill Walker, 16th. Ray Radford, Jamie Abril. A lot of these cars finishing behind the wall at the end. Douglas Wysocki and David Trumbley finishing 20th.
21st going the direction of Brian Reich, who led laps early on, finished 49 laps down. Brandon Leclerc blew a motor, finished 22nd. Hunter Clark involved in some incidents, 23rd. Funkhauser in 24th. Munched your DNFs as well. Paul Bazell in 25th. Matthew Kopp in 26th. And Brian Kaufman, 130 laps down at the time of the checker flag in this one. But the celebration is on, and $100 richer is Aaron Smith II. You win the Dash for Cash race tonight. Talk about tonight's run.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't know where to start. I mean, the whole race was awesome from the start to finish there. Had a little bit of trouble on a couple of those restarts there, but fortunately we picked up the pieces and brought it home.
Talk to us about that chess match, though, it seemed, between you and Brian McCann. You two seemed to scrap it up a fair bit, as well as Kevin McCann, before the strategy came into play with the tire sets.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you're racing against those McCanns, it's like you got to race on behalf of two people. It's always it adds an interesting dynamic to the race. I'm certainly appreciative of that. But yeah, I knew that if Brian got below me there on one of those restarts, it was almost over for me. I tried everything I had there on the initial restarts, try to get as good of a jump as I could, and fortunately it worked out.
Now, it gets interesting the rest of the way how things could play out, because the rest of the regular season, per the winner's penalty, one less tire set to consider. How will that play out now for your strategy the rest of the way to try and pick up more W's and points?
I guess I'll just keep doing what I've been doing, seeing if I can stay at the front for as long as I can, and try to push my way up through the field as cleanly as possible. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that'll play out.
Anyone you want to thank in your yellow and black machine?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone at the IROC Challenge for putting the show on, y'all for broadcasting, and everyone for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it at Vegas.
That's Aaron Smith II coming away with the Dash for Cash victory tonight here from Rockingham. Second spot going to Brian McCann tonight. He's with Chris Galla.
All right, Brian, let's talk a little bit here, man. What a tough race that was for you. It looked like you had a car that could definitely win this race. What was the difference there? What did you need to get around Aaron?
So first 10 laps on a set of tires, there was two lines the outside line into one, and get a good run on that back stretch, and that's how I made all of my passes during the night. But after around about lap 10 or 15, that wasn't really possible anymore. I mean, I can get up beside somebody, but then in 3 and 4, they've just beat me off since the high side's preferred out of 3 and 4. But so I really needed to make my move early, and I tried, and I just wasn't able to do it on air and there.
I'm going to throw the $1 million, or in this case, $100 question out there at you. Was the front bumper tonight worth the $100 if you could get to Aaron?
I mean, I'd hate to do it, but if I was close and he messed up a little bit and we touched, it happens.
Perfect way to call it, man. Obviously, a great momentum for you. I know last week didn't go the way you wanted there. Talladega, you and your brother ran pretty well there for the most part, and you got shuffled out, and then melee happened on the last lap. How good does it feel to bounce back here, at least to get a second place finish tonight?
Yeah, it's good to be on the podium here in second place. Good racing with Aaron and Chris and everybody else. Top 5, it seemed like all night. Was running pretty good. And I know Brandon Mefford, he had a fast car tonight, and unfortunately he got in a little accident there. But yeah, overall, really good race.
All right, buddy. Anybody you want to give shout outs to?
Just like to thank my wife, my family, letting me do this. You guys for putting this broadcast on. Chris Wally for putting the league on, and Kyle and everybody else who helps him with the league. A lot of work goes into this, and all of our sponsors.
The other question real quick before I let you go, the tuxedo shirt. Are we going to see that again like last week?
Yeah, I like to rotate. I got a few shirts I like to wear, and that's definitely one of my favorites.
Well, great job tonight there, Brian. Great job on the finish. Second place run. Next week's Vegas, and go get them there, bud.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And needless to say, Justin, good second place run, good bounce back for him as he carries that momentum. But speaking of momentum, a guy that had to work his way from the back a couple of times into a third place finish.
Yes, Chris Mefford entered tonight third in the point standings. He exits this race third on the pylon. Chris, lots of battling for you and your fellow Mefford tonight. Talk us through your evening, though, in the 46.
Oh man, where do I start? I honestly kind of didn't want to race tonight. Just the car didn't seem to be very fun. Very much into the racetrack. In that first run there, I just burnt my tires up. I didn't feel like I was burning them up, but starting in the back, I kind of make some moves there early on, and really set the mold on the tires. So second stage, kind of molding my tires a little better. Didn't push as much, and then at the end of that second stage, I was able to run with Troy, Brian, and Aaron there. So Brandon, he got unfortunate in an accident. He was battling back, and then I think he might have got caught up in another one. So very unfortunate, and just glad to be up here.
It seemed like a very difficult track in turn. You mentioned it feeling in the racetrack. What was that adjustment period like in turn to make sure you're able to balance that out and get yourself through the pack? You started off in 11th for reference. What was that balancing act like, and did you have to rely upon some errors or feedback from some of the others in turn to get that assistance needed to get there?
Early on in that first stage, I was able to push, and I didn't feel like I was pushing, but I was pushing just to try to get by some guys because the outside would stick, like Brian said. And then once we got 20, 30, 40 laps in, it just really equalized for me back there. But the guys out front just kept taking off. So obviously, track position was definitely key to be able to race how you want to race with respectable drivers. But it's just a tough track. I mean, they just wouldn't want to turn, didn't want to stay in the track. And Aaron, Brian, Kevin, Troy, Brandon, those guys were bad fast tonight.
Well, next race is at Las Vegas. 100 laps on the docket there. Your opinions on Vegas?
I'll let you know after this update. Obviously Aaron's going to be tough. I know him and Kevin will lose a set of tires for this whole rest of this regular season. But if it goes green, them guys are going to be there at the end. Brian, he'll probably be the man to beat due to he don't have a winner's penalty like Aaron and Kevin do. So Brian's going to be tough. Troy will be tough. Brandon, Neil, a lot of these guys are going to be tough. So I think just keeping it clean and being there at the end and see what you can give them a run for.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast. It's always great. Thanks to Chris Wally from Pentagraph and all the admins for putting up with us, all of our sponsors for the league. Congrats to Aaron and Brian on their great run. I said my sponsors: Race for Rally, Zoe's Place, Ellie's Place, National Kidney Foundation, Lucky Finn Project. Those are some pretty personal sponsorships for us. So we are having a benefit race for Ellie's Place and Zoe's Place. If you guys are interested, please get with Doug Wasaki, Brandon Mefford, or Tyler Hilton.
Congratulations to the top 3 tonight, Chris.
Thanks, sir.
As Chris Medford rounding out your top 3, I'd like to thank him, Brian McCann, Aaron Smith II for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage. And Chris, the Rock lived up to its hype. The dash for cash came down to the bitter end.
It sure did. What a fantastic race. As always, it's a track that drivers love to race at, well, at least most of them, and fans love watching racing at. It's a track that I still to this day will join the list of people that would love to see more racing at this track in the future. But we get to do it on iRacing, which is great, but a great race, great battle for the $100. They get to do it again, of course, in the future, and I'm very interested in this tire situation, because Las Vegas, though, is a track that is very fast and you see a lot of constant speeds, it eats up tires pretty good too. So I think it's going to be very interesting as we work our way into the future, having 2 drivers now short a set of tires, how that's going to play a role in this season.
The rest of the regular season is going to take an interesting turn, to say the least, with some of your winningest drivers having a battle with that one less set in loss of track position indeed tonight. But on that note, we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's action here from The Rock. We'd like to take the time to thank the sponsors of the IROC Challenge Series: Zoe's Place, R&R Racewear, Evidence-Based Mommy, Lucky Finn, Loud Pedal TV, 5-Star Graphics, Sim Coaches, and the Hot Dog Stand for their support of this series. Thanks to tonight's team once more of Chris, Joe, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, website, and merchandise store listed on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next time the series hits the racetrack is talked about Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Coverage starts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on September the 15th. Be sure to tune in next time out. Also, be sure to check out the next broadcast listed on screen, including the Grand Prix Legends, which will be taking place Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.